What is up? Welcome to the NBA Rundown, brought to you courtesy of Run Pure Sports and Run Pure Bets. I'm your host, Astaire, joined today by Tyler Hicks, and it's Tuesday, so we are graced by the presence of Travis Mangone. Travis, we had a wild weekend in the sporting world. The NFL regular season finished up. The NBA rolled on. I thought the biggest news from the weekend, well, besides the fact that Clippers University's turned into a high school now, was the injury to Kevin Durant. What have you taken away from the NBA since the last time we've talked?
Last time we talked, OKC beat the Celtics by like a million.
Yeah, 150 to 117. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, anything can happen. Also, like injury. I mean, like guys just taking off right now and chilling. So, it's I hate the NBA when it's like this. Like the Heat today, like they're all just taking off. It just kind of gets annoying, but that's the time of year we're at. So we'll just keep grinding, keep going through it.
And, I mean, let's be honest. It's almost all year at this point.
Yeah, but like it gets. I feel like it's bad like around this time, just because like guys kind of just want a break, right? They've been playing a little bit, right? They just want like this like nice break. Then I feel like after the All-Star break, they're like a little rejuvenated in like March to like kind of play a little bit and get in that form, and then like they like take like 3 weeks off and then playoffs start. That's what it feels like.
I feel like March and April is the worst because that's when half the teams are eliminated and they're just setting bets at random. And
well, like
that's when it's the easiest to bet because you know those teams are dead. They're not going to try. You don't know who's trying and who's not trying right now.
But like right after the break, it does feel like some of those guys start to like the teams that like need to start winning, right? They ramp up. You know what I mean? At least you get that. So, yeah.
Yeah, and the Clippers have not ramped up, man. For all the props we've given them, man, I think this team's been really disappointing. AP gave a scathing indictment of the team on Friday. And they didn't listen. They didn't care. They still been putting up bad performances. What are your thoughts on our favorite university?
Well, there's always teams every single year, right? We always say, oh, they're going to flip the switch, right? Like we're just waiting for the flip. It's they feel like the team that everyone's going to be like, oh, they're going to flip the switch. It'll be fine. And then like you see them losing like round one to like, I don't know. Dare I say like the Timberwolves? I won't go that far, but they lose.
Maybe
to
their
like
team,
a team that you're not expecting though. It's like maybe it's Portland. Portland's like maybe a decent example, right? Like like I could see Portland taking out the Clippers in the playoffs, and like everyone's just like, why and how did that happen? And it's like, well, because the flip never switched, and we just thought it would. So, yeah.
What about the other team in that town taking them out? LeBron shows up with AD, they knock him out.
Yeah,
don't talk to me about that because that team's been playing well.
They're definitely playing well. I mean, good for them. But the problem is, there's who are they getting to like come help, right? Help is not on the way. Like, I don't know who they're going to get.
Help is on the way. They just don't know who it is yet.
The problem is, the help was supposed to be on the way a year ago with Russell Westbrook, and they're still waiting for help. I'll say that.
Yeah, so a lot of things going on in the NBA world, and of course, we're excited to have you, Tyler. Last night, man, kind of run pure to get a winning record, right? I texted you. I said, "Oh, we're 2-2," because I assumed that Spurs game was going to go over. And then, did you see that I sent you that after a 73-point second quarter, they had a 45-point fourth quarter. And we squeak away the under. Another winning night for the playbook. What were your takeaways from last night's action, Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, that was ridiculous to get that under home.
Yeah.
The Bucks, I don't think the more we watch them play, I mean, yeah, they might flip the switch like we just talked about with other teams. That team does not look like a championship contending team right now. I mean, they're in dogfights with the Knicks. They can't pull away from them. And Giannis is just turning the ball over, traveling a lot. It just doesn't look good up in Milwaukee. Drew Holiday looks like he lost the step, so they need to make a move. I think, in my eyes, they need to get help up there if they want to make another run.
Are they the Eastern Conference? Oh, they'll flip the switch, right? I mean,
they might be the more watching them play, but the one name I can't pencil in that I think they could go get that would help them immensely would be Kyle Kuzma. They have the ammo to go get them there, plug them into the front quarter at the small forward spot, and just let them chuck shots.
I mean, the thing is, Chris Middleton was supposed to be back a month and a half ago.
Yeah, I think that's ran its course. Let him go.
What do you mean? You just don't think he's coming back?
I mean, if he comes back, I don't think he's what we need him to be.
Yeah, that's a good call. Especially right away. Like, we're not ready to write these players off, right? But look at how Zach LaVine and Jamal Murray started the season.
I'm
Took
I'm
him
always
about a
down,
month,
I'm
month
always
and a
down to
half to
write
get
players
going.
off early spread. I'm always in on that. I'd rather be early than late. I'll just say that. So I'm down to ditch Chris Middleton and try to find something else to fit the bill over there in Milwaukee. I don't think it's a bad idea.
All right. Well, let's dive into tonight's slate, Travis. This is going to be a challenge, right? Usually we have you on Tuesdays, 3-game slates. We can take our time. But tonight we got 7 games. So let's dive right in. Detroit Pistons plus 12.5 in Philadelphia taking on the Sixers. Total of 227. Tyler, what are your thoughts here? Pretty big spread for a Philadelphia team that I'm not sure I'm ready to trust.
Yeah, I mean, looking at this injury report, Bogdanovich is out, Duran's out for Detroit, and Embiid's still questionable, but he went through shoot around this morning, so maybe he plays. I mean, man, I really don't want to get in on this game. It's a Philly game. It's a huge spread. Could see Detroit hanging around, but probably just a complete stay away from me. Too many guys out on the Detroit side, and I hate betting Philly games.
Yeah, I'm all in for superstar subtraction, but at a certain point, right, the Detroit wasn't very good to begin with. They lost Cade. Bojan took the mantle there. Really, Alec Burks, I think, are providing the veteran presence to keep that team competitive. Without them, could be a struggle. Travis, what do you think here as the Pistons taking on the 76ers? Obviously, tougher game to bet. Well, we know those big players being out of the lineups oftentimes open up opportunities in the DFS slate.
Yeah, I was going to say superstar subtraction. Do we have Dwayne Casey on this podcast right now? With Bogdanovich being a superstar, being subtracted from the lineup there spread.
Yeah, okay, my bad. Effective veteran role player subtraction. I don't know if that's the same theory. I'll have to run those numbers.
Obviously going to be a spot because there's guys out. We have to talk about it in DFS. We have to consider it. Embiid is likely going to be in, and if he's in, that is going to hurt some of these other options, right? Tobias Harris at 6'8", obviously doesn't help his usage. Tyrese Maxey at 7K. I mean, Harden. It just doesn't help these guys as much. So you could make the case for Joel Embiid at 11-2 because the matchup is insane, right? It's the Detroit Pistons. He should be able to do whatever he wants. But I don't think I'm going to be going to these options. If we go to the Detroit Pistons side of the ball, we have Durant out, Bagley out. That leaves this front court without Bogdanovich too. Front court is Isaiah Stewart, Kevin Knox, if you consider him at the 4, right? Owen hasn't played all year, so I don't count in there. It's like Nerlens Noel. But the big issue you're going to run into with this team is they need Isaiah Stewart, but also Isaiah Stewart could get into foul trouble really easily in this spot. That's the real issue on this slate. So if we have some other value plays, which we do on the Heat side, which we'll get to, that's going to be one of the most important talking points. There's merits to fading Isaiah Stewart, even though the role seems great. And the foul trouble could be a problem, and it could just be a really disastrous game for the Pistons. So that's some thoughts there to add. Hamidou Diallo could be an interesting value play. He could obviously play the 4 a little bit if they need to. Could see him slide over there for some minutes, and he's a good fantasy producer. And then ball handling wise, you can make the case that Alec Burks could gain some, usage. Ivy as well, Hayes, but I don't know. The real spot we're going to target is this next game coming up. And you know me, I'm not really betting Philly-Detroit games. So I think Detroit has some options to consider, but there's other value plays I think I like more than these ones. They're not out of the question, but they're not the premier ones on this slate.
All right.
You're telling me don't play Nerlens Noel in his revenge game right here?
Oh, it isn't. That great call. It isn't Nerlens Noel revenge game. That is on me for not mentioning that. It's an Alec Burks revenge game too, I think, right? He had a cup of coffee in Philly for a hot second.
He might have a cup of coffee. I know Noel got drafted by Philly.
Yeah, Noel did get drafted. Burks did have a cup of coffee. I remember. I'm going to have to look it up. But Noel, he's just going to get a lot of run. And the thing is, he's a 3K center, right? You can do a lot with that, but he's going to come off the bench. He's a good fantasy producer. The problem is we just have I think we have good value in other spots that we're not going to need to go there, but it's in the conversation for sure.
All right. Let's just move on to the next game. The Charlotte Hornets are +8 in Toronto taking on the Raptors. Total is 229. Tyler, let's start with you. What do you think with the Hornets and the Raptors? My projections like the Hornets plus the points here. I don't know if I trust the projections here.
Yeah.
Right. Just because it projects it doesn't mean we need to bet it. I always say it's a guide. It's a starting point. It's not the be all end all of the handicap.
Yeah, I'm on the Raptors here. I mean, Hornets coming off that big win over Milwaukee, now traveling up to play Toronto. Toronto has all their guys. It looks like Hayward's going to be doubtful, miss this game. I got to take Toronto in this spot. Siakam should absolutely feast on this front court. Barnes should have his way. That's 7.5 on Barnes' rebounds at plus money. I like that. I like Siakam's double-double and win at plus 140. That would be some ways I'd come at this game instead of laying the 8. But if you can't get those, I think they do win this game by double digits. So I'm fine laying the 8.
All right, Travis, they always say my order is screwy compared to yours. Was this the game that you talked about that you thought was all the value, or?
No, I was going to OKC Miami next, but that's okay. This could be fairly quick. This could be it. So there's good plays though here. Obviously Pascal Siakam, great play, 10.1K. He soaks up that center spot, so like that's a key thing. He could be a really good spend up option. I mean, he gets to go up against Charlotte. I mean, Charlotte is a team that big men just absolutely feast, especially the guys like Pascal Siakam. Like, I'm kind of curious because we've known how bad Charlotte has been against bigs. It's been kind of a while. I want to see what his numbers have been. So it'll take me a second. Pascal Siakam, average DraftKings points against Charlotte.
Are you using StatMuse?
Yeah, that's all I do. I type in Pascal Siakam, average DraftKings points against Charlotte game logs, right? And then it shows a really nice little sample. So actually, his one game.
Dud last game.
Yeah, he did dud. Jeez. 27 minutes, too. He got 16.3. Then he went 52.25, 55.75, 23.75, 37.75, 47.75. Kind of like all over the board, not what you would expect, but Siakam is in the conversation for sure. I want to see what his ownership is going to be. I want to also see how I compare him as a center value versus other center plays, because overall, like, if you have like one of these centers that we're going to talk about here shortly in a matchup against OKC, it's like, okay, now I only have one more spot to roster center. So like, it's not, he's going to be harder to get to today naturally. So that's going to be a big talking point for sure. Maybe Scotty Barnes is the option. Scotty Barnes at only 6.6K. The problem is they're a little bit crowded there in Toronto now, right? They have Fred VanVleet, who's 8.3K. Gary Trent Jr., who slid back into the starting lineup. And even though he is not ball handling like he was last year, he is chucking the ball a lot for sure and playing pretty well. OG Anunoby at 6.4K. There are certain matchups where OG is better than others. This is one of those matchups where I like OG. Like, I wouldn't like OG against the Mavericks because what do they do? Slow the tempo down. You got Luka handling the ball, and he's not an idiot with the ball. Do you know what I want to play OG? I want to play him against the Rockets. I want to play him against the Spurs, OKC. Those like fast-paced, not playing as much defense style games. So you could make a case Charlotte is one of those options that, hey, they'll be running up and down the floor. They'll be careless with the ball. So they don't even want the ball, actually. If you saw John Morant just, dribble the ball up court, or not dribble, he just let it roll. I don't know if you guys saw that one. That was funny.
It came to a dead stop, and they just let him stand there for 20 seconds.
Yeah, it was amazing. I was like, this is absolutely absurd right now. But that's just Ja being a clown, in my opinion. Like, come on, Ja. Like, this is against Charlotte. Like, don't do it against Charlotte. Do it against the Warriors if you're really that tough. But let's go over to the Charlotte side of the ball. LaMelo Ball is 10K, and LaMelo Ball can produce. But LaMelo Ball can also not keep his hands to himself. The problem with him is his floor is just like, it's so low. I'm not super excited about him. Like, compared to other stars, I think there's other options I'd rather go to. If you want to chase the ceiling, I wouldn't talk you out of it, but I just don't think it's a path that I'm personally going to go here on this slate. Feels like LaMelo Ball could be a good candidate for the box and one route. Just get the ball in his hands, right? Like, you don't want him with the ball in his. You want to give it to other guys. And if that is the case, you could make the case that Terry Rozier is going to chuck a lot of shots up. And if they're more open shots, I don't know. At 6'9", it's not the craziest tournament play. He has 50-point ceiling. And at 6'9", that's definitely worth considering a little bit. We need the status of Gordon Hayward. He is doubtful. But if he's not in, you can make a case McDaniel's going to play a pile of minutes because Oubre's out. You could make the case for PJ Washington. He's one of those other guys, too, that can get into foul trouble at times and be frustrating. And that length of the Raptors does not excite me. So at 5'6", I think it's more of a down game for PJ Washington than an up game for sure. And we should talk about Mark Williams. The guy is an elite producer at 3.7K. Is this the matchup he can get the job done? I mean, he's going against like what? Chris Boucher and like some of those other clowns on like the Toronto bench more so. If you needed value, I could see it, but we probably don't need it on this slate. Like I talked about, Miami's going to be a spot that we really have to target, and we're going to talk a lot about here in a second.
All right. And Mark Williams is a guy that, like, just shows you how much this Hornets team is backwards. Like, why aren't we developing this guy? Like, the team sucks. Why is he not getting more minutes?
Yeah, Mark Williams, I'm not saying he should start, but, like, Plumlee should start. And then from there, like, you should have, like, moments in the game where, like, the minutes get more, like, tighter, right? It shouldn't be, like, 16 to 18. Like, it should be closer to, like, 28 and 20 of the split, right? And then maybe, like, 26 and 22. And, like, I don't know. Mark Williams is playing well. Let the kid roll. Like, just sit Mason Plumlee. Who cares?
Yeah. I completely agree there. So, once again, Charlotte, I mean, it's like I complain about the ownership in Sacramento. And, boy.
You don't have it as bad as Charlotte does.
I don't know who's worse at picking players, Jordan or LeBron. It's like, the better player you are, the worse GM you are.
I mean, Spread, let's just say this, though. I mean, you're complaining about your Kings, but the Sabonis trade ain't looking as bad as you thought. I mean, I agree. Getting rid of Halliburton sucked, but I did say last year, this gives Fox the opportunity to actually do his thing. It's like having two quarterbacks. It doesn't work. You know, you only need one quarterback. You don't need two. And that's what it felt like the Kings kind of had there and couldn't figure out how to make it work.
I'm fine with it, especially at this point, because we're having fun with the team. But one of the issues for it is I just think that, even if everything goes well for the Kings, it's like a second round exit is the best possible.
Yeah, you guys are the Knicks of the West, right? Like, you got your Julius Randle, your Sabonis, right? And he's playing great. Like, don't get me wrong, like, he's playing awesome, but, like, if you're talking about winning a title, it's probably not happening. But it's a step in the right direction. And when you're in the basement that long, Spread, I think it's worth getting out. Like,
Spread wants to go from the bottom to the top, snap of a finger.
I just
want to, like, do this in a proper manner. Like,
they are.
There's two ways to do it, Spread. The ways to get out is you get a draft pick, or you find ways to just, like, grab guys that you overpay for and you just try to make it happen. And listen, I like Halliburton. He's awesome and all, but, like, I don't know what's like. Well, let's see. Is Halliburton? I think he's great, and I think he's surrounded by some trash right now. But I don't know. Is he going to be like? It just wasn't work. I mean, he was young. It's early, but I don't know. Just be happy with what you got so far. Spread.
Yeah, I will be. I'll stop complaining. Tyler, do you have any thoughts about? Oh wait, we were done with that one. You already said you like the Hornets. Any props there?
No, I like the Raptors.
I mean, you like the Raptors.
Excuse
me. Yeah, I gave out the
record.
Barnes over 7.5 rebounds and the Siakam double and win. So we can jump to the next game.
Let's go to the next game. Sorry about that. Not on my best this morning, but fortunately I have two excellent guys with me to help keep me on track. The Oklahoma City Thunder plus 2.5 in Miami taking on the Heat. Total of 222.5. Tyler, let's start with you, man. This line's moved 2 points since I did the playbook, and I started the playbook late today. It was only like 2 hours ago. Why is this line moved? Do you know, and who do you like?
I mean, all the Heat starters are out if they're not named Jimmy Butler. It's looking like Bam out, Hero out, Lowry out, Gabe Vincent questionable, Dedmon probable, Udonis Haslam questionable.
And all those guys are only worth 2 points?
I mean, if they're playing the Thunder, I think the number's right where it should be because I don't think the Thunder win this game. I still think Miami wins it. I mean, those role players are going to slide in with still the star on the team. Jimmy's just going to be able to distribute and have his way. His double-double and win is plus 255. And he has two logistical paths to getting the double-double today. He could triple-double today versus the Thunder. I mean, he's going to get the rebounds. There's no bigs on the floor. He could easily be the point guard for Miami also. So that's my favorite bet in here, and I like Miami to cover that 2.5.
All right, Travis, this sounds like, well, we're going to find all the great value. What are you thinking?
Yeah. Also, let's kick it off with a Victor Oladipo revenge game. That's why these guys are sitting, right? You got to let Victor cook tonight. So
before you go into your breakdown, Travis, do you see what ESPN's doing with Jimmy's picture? They stopped using the Dread picture, and they're using his 2K picture now because they're tired of using it.
Really? What's the 2K picture?
It's just his generated face.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen that.
Really?
Yeah, I'll find it and send it to you guys.
Yeah, that's funny. Jimmy Butler is 8.9K in a great spot. Obviously have to like him. Also, the Thunder are willing to play small ball. And I don't know, couldn't you play Jimmy at the 5 here if you really wanted? Yeah, you could. So I think that's worth mentioning. Let's go position by position on this team. Dwayne Dedmon, he is probable. You got Robinson also looking like he's going to play, and then you have Haslam at 3K. Haslam probably will not play, even if he draws the start. Don't get baited into it. It doesn't matter. I also could see Dedmon getting the start, but I could see Robinson closing the game and being the better fantasy option. We've seen that before with these guys. They did it with Jovic recently, and I stuck on Orlando Robinson. And if Dedmon starts, I might stick on Orlando Robinson regardless, because they need production off the bench, right? Do you have Dwayne Dedmon coming off the bench to give you production? No, that's not what he does. He actually makes more sense to start the game. And then Robinson going to give you really good bench production. And then likely, Dedmon doesn't play a pile of minutes, right? It makes more sense to just close with Robinson, in my opinion, especially if he's playing well. So I like that spot for Robinson. Think he's interesting. Highsmith obviously could be in play. Jamal Cain, he was assigned to the Heat, assigned Kane to the Falls Skyforce G League on Thursday. So I don't know if he's back yet. Obviously, you have to stay tuned to see if he's back. Then you got Max Struss. Max Struss is likely going to be in the Caleb Martin-esque role, just playing a pile of minutes, right? Problem is, will the three-point ball fall? He could do some ball handling, but the key is I think the ball handlers are going to be Oladipo, Butler, and likely Gabe Vincent off the bench so I don't think you're going to see Max Struss as much ball handle. He's likely going to be that guy just chucking up that three ball, trying to fill that void. So he will play a pile of minutes though. And then if we're going to add it up, let's count all the guys that are in, because I haven't done it yet. Butler, Oladipo, those are two, and they're the two main point guards. They're probably two of the better plays here. Max Struss, Gabe Vincent, Orlando Robinson, Hayden Highsmith. We're not counting Udonis Haslem because it doesn't matter. Dwayne Dedmon and Jamal Cain. So the 8th guy is Jamal Cain, right? The 7th guy is Dwayne Dedmon, and Haslem is the 9th guy, and we don't really care about him. Point I'm getting at is you're going to see a pile of minutes here. Also, the Heat are the team that are willing to play their guys a lot of minutes. We saw Kyle Lowry play 48 minutes once this year. There's a spot it's really hard to avoid. It's against OKC. You're clearly going to like it. The one argument you can make for fading Jimmy is the dude is an expensive guy, and if you pay for him, it's harder to pay for another option. So it is one of the cases to make against it. For instance, Jimmy's 8-9. Could you see him getting 50 DK points tonight? Yes. Could you see him getting 40? Yeah. And you know what? Both those price tags are not even must. Even at 50 DraftKings points at 8-9. Would I sign up for it? Yes, I would. But is that for sure on the winner? It's not for sure on the winner. He's also only power forward eligible. So that's another thing to note. I'm curious to see if there's any other power forwards that could open up as elite value plays later on that could mess up the construction. But overall, gotta like Jimmy Butler. Definitely a good play. Assuming Gabe Vincent off the bench will be a pretty interesting option at 3-3. Oladipo at 5-3. I think he's going to slide into the starting lineup, him or Vincent. It'll be one of those. Struss will be the guy that slides into that Caleb Martin-esque role, playing just 40 minutes or just soaking up spots the 2, the 3, and the 4 at times. And then Hayden Highsmith could gain some minutes, but I'm not dying to get there. He is 3-1. So it depends what it does for my full lineup. Jamal Cain is probably a pass. Dedmon's probably a pass. And I think Orlando Robinson is the better center option if I had to pick.
All right. Pretty good breakdown. Tyler, from a betting perspective, how are you approaching this?
Yeah, I'm on the Heat. I'm on Butler's double-double, and I think I was it in this game. We can jump to the next one.
Yeah, I should call out OKC, you can play them, but they're just kind of crowded right now. So
you doubled back on me again, spread.
Pardon?
I broke down the game first, then you went to
I'm sorry. I had to
came back to me again.
Yeah.
So, I had to jump up real quick. So my guy, West Coast Jim, says, you haven't washed away all that rain in NorCal. Good buddy of mine, he lives about 2 miles away. Remember I was telling you my power was out all weekend, Tyler? His power's still not back on.
Unbelievable.
So I ran to the door so he could shower and get some heat and do all that stuff while I'm off at work. So that's where I missed your breakdown here. But yeah, it's been wild here. At one point on Sunday, over 200,000 people in the Sacramento area without power. That's how much the storm.
Travis, I was trying to tell him stuff like that just doesn't happen on the East Coast. 200,000 people without power for multiple days.
It has to be like a crazy storm for it to happen.
Yeah, like they just had some rain.
Yeah,
and
that's
some
crazy.
wind. Like,
bro, we had some wind.
We'd have had that shit fixed 3 days ago.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you guys are Steelers. We're Kings.
Travis is from Jersey.
Yeah, I mean, it just the East Coast built different. You know what I mean? The West Coast kid.
We'd have had guys up in the air in them 60-mile-an-hour wind spread. They'd have got that shit done.
I mean, I can't argue because I missed all the games on Sunday. I'm out hiking around because my dumbass gets so stressed out. I would have just hit refresh on the outage report over and over again. So I took myself out of range just to not do it. Fortunately, mine was on, so I was able to watch the NBA and some Sunday night football. Oh, my condolences for your team, Travis. But
it's fine. I don't care that much. I mean,
Dolphins
I acted
got
like
in.
I cared Sunday, and then it said in.
Yeah, your real team got in, right?
Yeah, the boys did get in. I don't know what they're gonna do though. I mean, it's that.
I know what they're gonna do. They're gonna be like Tina Turner and Ike Turner's the Bills. They're getting smacked.
I mean, here's the thing. Like that Dolphins situation spread. If I told you everything they had to deal with this year, you would have been like, "There's no way they make the playoffs."
Yeah, I remember my Raiders doing that last year.
Yeah,
a lot of situations.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, the Dolphins still got in. You know, the Raiders,
we got in last year when we had situations. We did better with situations.
Nah, that's fair, but whatever. I mean, you guys suck, but you know, I don't care. You're right, but I did want to call out one last thing.
Just for that, I hope Rodgers comes to Las Vegas next year.
I hope he goes. I want Jordan Love to play. Like, I just want to see something different. I'm bored.
Love is in the air.
Isaiah Joe at 3.7. I'm not saying to play him on this slate. But like the dude is getting run and like producing like insanely. So I actually think he's one of those like sneaky value plays on like future slates that like when shooting guard's not good, like just punting with him for cheap. Like I hope he stays down in this low 3K range. I hope he kind of stays down there and doesn't get too good. So that's one guy that not playing him on this slate, but just watch for future slates. Could be like a contrarian punt option that helps make a lot of things work on certain slates. So, or like the night slate, right? If OKC happens to be on some night ones, it could be intriguing.
All right, there you have it. Let's see. What does Nadesify say? I want Young Life in GB. He said Dodgers, but I assume Rodgers. Rodgers just doesn't want to try out there. Set Love loose. I agree. Man, go. All right. I should have read it over here. I don't know why I'm trying to read it off the screen. So you want Jordan Love too, huh?
I just want something different. Like, I mean, I would love Rodgers to go somewhere and like win a Super Bowl. Like I'm rooting for him. I just don't think.
Yeah, in Las Vegas, that'd be great.
Yeah, he should go to like an NFC team where like there's the path is easier. I don't know what the team is, but
just a quick NFL.
San Francisco, of course.
Just a quick NFL rumor spread. Guess who's keyed in on the Arizona head coaching job now that it's open?
Who is it?
Sean Payton.
Because he's friends with Bidwell's kid.
And that's one guy I think could get the midget going on the under center.
You have to be on the field. All right, we're gonna move on.
Yeah, he's busy on the battlefield, not the actual field.
He'll be busy on one field.
Have you guys been playing? Have you guys jumped in the games together?
I have not played in a very long time, actually.
No wonder the cores have been so good.
That's what it is. Yeah, I've been pretty busy, but I once NFL slows down, I get back in the streets, so we'll be there. But I've been working hard, so yeah.
It's so funny when NFL. I'm so fiending for NFL to come like around August, and now I'm like, it's gonna be a little nice to.
It is gonna be nice. I'm not gonna lie.
Right.
It's a grind.
Cleveland Cavaliers are -3 in Utah, taking on the Jazz. Total of 226. Travis. Now this, my friend, is a revenge game. This is the revenge game right here, right? Because he's actually made comments about the city. He obviously didn't enjoy his time there. He didn't give any effort on defense. I mean, all of a sudden he's a much better defensive player when he's in a new team. This is a real revenge game back at home. How do you think the fans treat him? Are you lining him up? I mean, other than that 71-point performance, I went through his game logs. They haven't been super impressive over the last 5 games. How do we approach this revenge spot with the Cleveland Cavaliers laying 3 in Utah, taking on the Jazz?
Yeah, to be fair, when you play next to Evan Mobley, everyone's defensive stats go up. Also,
but you just watch. I mean, you just watch. He's giving way more effort.
Well, yeah,
I mean, he was a turnstile in Utah.
Well, I give more effort too. You know why? I'd be sick of trying to replace, when you're trying to cover the 3 ball and Rudy Gobert doesn't run out to the 3-point line. Yeah, I'd get sick of trying to freaking catch that other man on the rotation. I'd get dog tired and sick of it. So, Donovan Mitchell, 9-6 revenge spot. Not just revenge, the fans. Like, I don't know if you've heard what he said about the fans spread. He
said he wasn't comfortable there at all. He didn't like the city of Salt Lake City, and Cleveland's a much better city. He said it's a better city.
Basically said they are, I don't want to say it, but he said the fans were not kind to him at all. 9-6 for Donnie Mitchell. He definitely could chuck here in this spot. Interesting contrarian option. I don't hate it. I don't think people are going to gravitate towards him because it's an expensive price tag. I mean, it's not cheap. So I think he's interesting. It's a shame Ricky Rubio's hurt. We don't get a Ricky Rubio revenge game, but what can you do? Darius Garland, 7-7. Do you want to spend on Darius Garland? I don't think I need to go there. It's not dying to. They are kind of more healthy than they've been, right? Allen's back, Mobley back at 6'3". Bigs have destroyed Utah, though. Like Jared Allen at 6'2" could absolutely eat in this spot. Evan Mobley at 6'3", pretty safe option I think you should consider. But I want to talk about this scenario spread. We are missing Kelly Olynyk tonight. So because we're missing Kelly Olynyk, is Walker Kessler starting? Like, is that for sure? Could we see a starting lineup of Vanderbilt at the 5 with Markkanen at the 4, Beasley, Clarkson, and Conley? Or could we see maybe like one of these other guys like slide? Like could Noah slide into the starting lineup instead and keep Walker Kessler off the bench? I assume Kessler starts because it makes sense against Jared Allen, right? Like they match up pretty well, but I don't know. I know that Walker Kessler can, sometimes like these bigs cannot keep them hands themselves, and teams don't want to start out that way. And you can make a case that Vanderbilt, he might be better to be thrown on like Allen at times, but I don't know, Spread. What's your kind of overall thoughts on that? Like, do you think Vanderbilt starts at the 5 or is it Walker Kessler?
I think the smart thing to do would be start Kessler just because I'm all in on development. But I think that they'll start Vanderbilt because he's a veteran. And
who starts at the 3 then?
Beasley.
You think that so that's my debate. Do they actually start Beasley and then I guess they put Non like the 6th man role, I guess? Is that the thing that they do?
I would prefer that. I have no idea. I mean, this is a new coach. We don't know a lot about how he's going to approach these things.
I'm just trying to play this off the names on the injury report. I think it's got to be Beasley because you're not going to slide Alexander Walker into the starting lineup, and the other guy that would go in would be THT, and he's already out.
Oh, I know. That's why it's like confusing. I mean, could they put? How crazy is it to put like one of these like small forwards in there, like Fantasia or the Ochai Agbaji?
The rookie.
Yeah, Agbaji's a rookie. He's another one, if I'm team development that would do well there.
Technically a revenge game for him too. He was drafted by Cleveland.
There we go, Tyler. That's one I didn't know.
My gosh! So he's still got that Cleveland cap in his closet that he wore on draft night.
Hey, Andrew,
stupidest thing. How they
Andrew
make him wear
Wiggins
the
had
whole
the revenge,
cap.
right? He got drafted by Cleveland, So, So I'm not saying Utah's a spot to like go crazy with, but like I want to see what the starting lineup's going to be. Who knows what could open up? Beasley.
How much does that matter? I listen to you guys hardwood a lot, and sometimes you guys say that the starting lineup gets overrated.
It does, depending who it is, right? Like one thing I hate is like, for instance, if Nickeil Alexander-Walker slides into the starting lineup, like they play with one basketball, right? Like Nickeil Alexander-Walker is not a 3-and-D guy. Like that's what they need to have in that 3 spot tonight. Like they don't want Noah there. I mean, maybe you could make the case Beasley there is fine because he's just such a sharpshooter, right? But it depends if you just want his usage off the bench. So it's some of these guys are not bad. Like you can make a case. I think Beasley's really interesting at 4'9", especially if he starts. Like Walker Kessler, if he starts at 4'7", is interesting. Vanderbilt, I struggle with just because Yeah, he can pop for big games, but man, he can sometimes just literally do nothing and just play a bunch of defense, and he's good at that. But yeah, Jared Allen at 6'2" is kind of the guy that might be really appealing. That could go for like, I mean, these guys at 6'2" that can go for like 40, 50 DK points and like really good matchups. You can't really ignore them. So he's probably my favorite Cav, followed by Mitchell if I have like a spend up. But I don't know. I just think there's other spends I'd rather try and mess around with than Mitchell.
All right. Tyler, we haven't gotten into betting this game yet. What do you think, man? I think the Utah Jazz are overvalued. I think they were a great story. I think they started well, but you know me, I make the numbers every day. But I think part of the making the numbers and why it's kind of cool that I'm old and don't know how to scrape everything and I manually enter them, I kind of get an idea, right, as they're going up and down. These Utah numbers are so weighted by that, first month and a half performance that I believe that this team is overvalued, not only by my projections, but by the sportsbook's projections as well, because I don't think they spend too much time on this. I think they throw up a number that's pretty good, and then the market move it, right? I don't think they're too worried about, we put the wrong number up on Utah. It's not like messing up on an NFL number. I kind of like Cleveland here, and it sucks because I'll be rooting for Utah. I think Lauri Markkanen is badass. Have you seen the way he's been dunking lately?
Yeah,
he got jacked.
I honestly think he's got the inside track for most improved player over SGA because we all knew what SGA was. He was just being sat out for reasons because they didn't want to win.
Yeah,
Markkanen's developed into a player I don't think any of us thought he would become. So I think,
and when you see the physical improvement he's made, you can't help but be impressed. I mean, the dude went from just looking like a beanpole. I mean, the dude's jacked now.
He went from being the next version of Kristaps to actually being like an actually good basketball player. So. He's looking as for betting this game, I'm going to leave the side alone, to be honest with you. -3 on the Cavs seems like a solid spot. But the game's in Utah with all this added things going on around it with Mitchell coming back. They're going to be loud in this arena. We know this is a tough place to play. It's going to be like a playoff atmosphere. Another revenge narrative we didn't talk about was Clarkson. Clarkson had to spend a few years in Cleveland when LeBron had him shipped there before LeBron went to LA. So he might want to beat up on Cleveland. I'm going to just play the Mitchell props. His over 3.5 threes is plus 120. Getting plus money on that here when we know he's going to chuck. I love that prop. And if I'm going to bet the side, I'm just going to bet it through the Mitchell performance doubles. His 5+ threes and win is plus 460. I'd rather bet that than bet a -3 in a game I think could be very close.
Yeah, 3 is a number I'm not worried about because Utah can keep it close the whole game and then they'll foul their way out of it, which is why – if you'll notice on the playbook, sometimes we see edges from anywhere to +3 to plus 5.5 and their leans because I've seen too many games this year. Bro, what was that game the other night? The Pelicans were fouling down 8. We had +9. Oh my gosh. It was ridiculous. They're fouling down 8 with less than 20 seconds to go. I'm like, this isn't college, guys. But that's one of the reasons why I stay away from the +3s. Tyler, we're going to throw these tags up after the show, but you like Cleveland here, huh? You're just a little worried about laying those points.
Yeah, I'd just rather play it through the Mitchell props. I could see this being one of them games where Cleveland's up late, Utah makes a late run, and that arena is just rocking, and it's like, all right, they look like they have the momentum, and then they steal the game by 1 to 2 points.
Travis, I mean, are you jumping on this revenge prop with us? I think Mitchell's in line for a huge night. I think his teammates feed him.
Yeah, what's the number again?
20. When I wrote it up this morning, it was 28.5. What is it now?
I'll play his threes over 3.5 over that. I mean, the dude shot 7, 12, 15, 6, 11, 9, 12, 9 threes.
Why not both? They're both going to cash.
It's just such a high number that you're like, I mean.
Yeah, but how many high numbers have we seen already this season? Like,
what is the number again? You said 29.5.
Yeah.
I mean, like, just to put in perspective for you, like, the dude is, if you look 1, 2, there's one game he's hit it.
Yeah, I know his game log isn't good on it, but this is a completely narrative-based play.
Yeah,
because like I said, like we have fun with the revenge, like, he had a 10-day contract in 2018, revenge. But I mean, this is legitimate. Like, where his teammates will be feeding him, the coach is aware, the teammates are aware. I wouldn't be surprised to see Garland become quite the passer tonight.
To be fair, I might think they might really kill like if they're up to like they might leave Mitchell out there more to just keep going. You know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't shock me. So
remember they rested him too last game spread, and we couldn't figure out why they rested him.
It was 2 games ago. He's played one game since.
He has played 1 game since? Okay, yeah, because I remember they rested him. He didn't touch 30 minutes in the last game. He's coming for blood tonight.
Yeah, I think this is a big game for him. I mean, a lot of times these guys don't care about regular season, but I think you get the best effort. I think the team's with them too, though, right? This is their star. They're rallying around him. They have to be happy about the contributions he's given to
By
the
the way,
team.
he was really bad in that last game that he played with. I mean, that's all. I mean, he was not good in the game before. I guess the one thing that's nice
Isn't that the best time to get him, though?
No, I mean, one thing that's nice is at least the games in Utah where you can make the case like maybe Utah can keep it closer, right? At least because he only played 23 minutes in that last one.
All right.
I've also heard the narrative like Donnie Mitchell in the guard and he loves the guard and then he like laid an egg. So I don't know. I mean, it's just
it's not. I'm sure he does love the guard. It doesn't mean you're automatically going to play well. And the same thing tonight. Like he might get all jacked up and it might, everything's going long or he's trying too hard or gets himself in foul trouble early. Being a
it is just 9-6. Like it's pricier than you think, but we're gonna.
And I can understand because you're leveraging to pay 9-6. You're leveraging against the other studs on the slate, and there's some good options, right? Joel Embiid's in a smash spot, but just for those player props where I only need to go over by 1 point in order to win the bet completely. I think I really liked his player props tonight. Let's talk about the Phoenix Suns. Plus 11.5 in Golden State taking on the Warriors. Tyler, this is too much, isn't it?
I mean, looking at this injury report, I'm going to be completely honest with you. How do we bet this game? Steph questionable, JaMychal Green out, Andre Iguodala and Kuminga out, Clay probable, Wiseman out, Ayton questionable, Craig questionable, Cam Johnson's out, Chris Paul's out, Shamit's questionable. Like, what are we supposed to do here? I'm not betting this game with a single dollar. I wouldn't even pick up $1,000 off the ground walking down the street and bet it on this game.
Well, I would. I would pick it up and I would take the points. What do you think, Travis?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think about the Warriors because they've been really good at home, right? And you get Curry back for this game.
Is he? Do you think he'll play tonight?
He's questionable.
I mean, the line says he's going to play.
Yeah, I thought they said he was going to, but obviously they're going to monitor his minutes and everything. I don't love betting this game. It's probably one I'd stay away from. I'd like the one we talk about the most that I like the most is the Toronto one. I think Toronto's the best one so far that we've discussed.
That's funny. I'm afraid of laying 8 with that team.
Yeah, I'm not. They're fine. Let me see.
They're fine, even though they're like 17-23 on the year or whatever their record is. And
it's fine. Last time I was on Toronto spread, we gave 4 and we cashed.
They're fully healthy too spread. I mean,
yeah,
this is the Toronto team we want to bet on.
Yeah, I agree. With
that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, because I did eat it because I said they could. I think we are. I can't remember who it was, and I said, "Oh, that'd be fine without Van Fleet," and they were not. Okay, you like Toronto the best. You're not going to jump in on this game. Total's 229.5, but we can't ignore it for DFS purposes, especially with the news on the Phoenix side. How are you approaching that one?
Yeah, I mean, Golden State's like they feel like a very hard pass with like Curry coming back, so don't even worry about them. Phoenix, the injury report is long. Ayton is questionable, and it feels like a good sit Ayton spot. Like just sit everyone. Like let everyone else play. Problem is this game is pretty late. We might not have this news in time, and we have really good Miami news. So we are down to, let's say Ayton misses. Let's just, for counting purposes. Bridges, he would be a guy. You got Shamit. He is questionable. He could sit. Craig, questionable. He could sit. So we added 2 questionable guys on the list. Well, we'll add Ayton too, so 3. Then it's Washington Jr., which he'd be like a stone lock in this spot. It's a Damian Lee revenge game, so you got to like that. Dario Saric, Landell, Wainwright, Biyombo, Okogie. So that's 11 guys. But if you get rid of Craig, Shamit, and Ayton, if you get rid of all of them, now we're down to 8, right? And it's just all cheap guys, too. The most expensive guy would be Bridges at 6'2", followed by next expensive guy would be Dwayne Washington Jr. at 4'2". There's a lot of good value here. The problem is it's a lot of good value early on. And, like, trying to find the right balance between that is going to be key. And I think Dwayne Washington Jr. is a good play regardless. I think Damian Lee could be one of those plays that he's a good play, but he could become a really elite play later on. And like Landale at 3-2, he's another one that could, great fantasy producer, could absolutely crush here in this spot if Ayton sits. But you need some sort of plan, right? I don't know what the right idea and plan is. Maybe it's messing around with the Utah values. Maybe it's looking at some Clippers options as like backups, or it's tough though for sure, because between like Dallas, Orlando, and Portland, there's not a lot of like values that you would love to like hold that space. So that's one of the big issues you're going to run into. But Blake Washington Jr. is probably the best player from that game, and it's really a news-based thing and like trying to figure out the right balance between it all. But we can kind of move on to like the last two games spread.
Yeah, because we got to get you out of here quick, right? So Orlando Magic +8 in Portland, taking on the Trailblazers. Total is 229. Magic are +252 on the money line. If you want to feel crazy like that. Tyler, terrible spot for the Magic, man. Kings got up and down on the floor on him last night. Kings set a franchise record, 23 three-pointers. And let's be honest, the Magic had a lot to do with that because a lot of those shots were wide open, right? It looked like the warm-up they do at halftime. The Magic obviously got tired. This is the end of a long road trip. They're a young team. I don't want to say they've exceeded expectations, but they're not a failure. I'm sure they've had a good time on this road trip, right? They're not hanging their heads. Now they play a Portland team that, let's be honest, they've been struggling as well. They're just getting back from a road trip, and I believe, if I remember at the top of my head, they've lost 7 straight games on the road. Now they come home. They have a homestand. They're going to play 10 of their next 11 games at home. But we always know that first game back off a road trip is we don't give the same home court edge as normal. I think this is a tough game. I want to play the Blazers. I think both teams are in a nice fade spot, but I think the Magic are even more. So I'd want to play the Blazers, but they priced it right, in my opinion. -8. It's a big number. What do you think, Tyler?
Yeah, I think the Blazers walk them off the floor tonight. I think it's a worse spot for the Magic. They're coming up from Sacramento after giving up all those three-pointers. They're going to go with that same defensive scheme here. Good luck against Lillard, Simons, Hart, Grant. I mean, Simons, 3.5 threes, -120. Lillard, 4.5, +145. I know 4.5 sounds like a lot, but Lillard's going to chuck 14 to 15 threes here. He can easily make it. Simons, the same thing. And then looking at their performance doubles, if you don't want to lay the points here, I mean, Simons to hit 5 threes and win, +260. If you don't think he hits the threes and just scores 24 points, that's +200. Lillard to score 30 and win, +175. Where's Lillard's threes at? Because I know they set his high. Lillard 6 threes and win, +350. I mean, that'd be some ways I'd come at this game with how they're just not guarding the three-point line. But yeah, Blazers walk them off the floor tonight for me.
All right. Tyler says a blowout. How does this affect you for DFS, Travis?
I want to like agree with Tyler on the blowout thing, but man, like, Orlando, I could see him bouncing back a little bit just how ugly they were last night. I mean, they were so bad, but if you forced me to bet, I'd probably end up just like begrudgingly taking the Portland side if I had to pick. But DFS wise, Nurkic at 6-1, that price tag is cheap. I mean, if you watch Sabonis in the first half, he absolutely destroyed the Magic. The only thing that was unfortunate for me is I had Sabonis and he was like 7% owned. It was looking great. And then they just blew him out. And it was very frustrating. But I think Nurkic at 6-1 could easily get the job done. Wouldn't be shocked if he had 30 DK points at the end of the first half against this team. I mean, they're just so bad against centers. Grant, a little too pricey for me. Josh Hart, you could make a case at 6'3". Simon, 6'5". He's not like 8K anymore where he was kind of priced up. He obviously has the ceiling to get 50 if he gets rolling. So you could go to him. Dame is a tough spend for me. Not that I don't think he can get the job done, but there's other spend ups I think I'd rather prefer. And like, if the game blows out, like you're just not getting the Dame you want, right? You want the Dame that's like out there being aggressive. There's nothing worse than like when Portland is ahead and they're in cruise control, Dame doesn't chuck like that. He actually just defers to people. He chucks when he needs to. I don't know if it's going to be a spot that he needs to chuck. So that's one of my definitely concerns DFS-wise. And the Magic, they're just too crowded of a situation. So no Magic for me. I'm curious to see if for some reason Jalen Suggs sits on the second night of the back-to-back. I could see that happening, but not excited to play anyone from Orlando, really.
All right, let's move on. We're going to make it, Travis. The Dallas Mavericks are +1.5 in Los Angeles, taking on the Clippers. Total of 221.5. Travis, the Clippers have been receiving a lot of our ire on this show over the past week. poor performances. And I know on the DFS side, you guys got burned by them as well. I was listening to Tony and JSU curse them out as well. So Run Pure is not happy with Clippers University right now. What's going to happen here? Like, is there a way that we get back, or is this going to be a permanent divorce?
Ooh, it's definitely been ugly for the Clippers, right? They have struggled for sure. I'm going back and forth on how to go with this one because, like, I do think it's obviously a really good spot for Luka, I guess, DFS wise, but betting wise, I mean, they have literally lost 6 in a row. I mean, and some of those losses were to Pacers. That's an ugly loss, right? I mean, Timberwolves, in my opinion, yeah, they lost by 13. That's an ugly loss. I think the Hawks is kind of an ugly loss too. The Hawks have not been that impressive either. On the flip side, the Mavericks haven't been this like super impressive team throughout the season. They are on a roll with Luka, but they beat up on some lame teams, right? They beat the Timberwolves, the Rockets, the Lakers, Knicks, Rockets, Spurs, Rockets, lost to the Celtics, beat the Pelicans, lost to the Thunder. It's not like they have any wins that are super impressive there. But my lean is if it's going to be a close game, I'm going to lean on Luka to get the job done. He's just been absolutely incredible. So I like the Dallas side if I have to pick here. Don't think it's a bad money line bet to make. Overall, Luka is 12-6. You have to have the value to do it. We do have the value to do it. The question is, will he play? He is questionable. I assume he's in. Is this the TNT game as well?
I believe so, and he also sat last game off of back-to-back.
Let me double check though. Do they usually don't start TNT games at 7:30 or 10:30 for you guys?
They don't. Yeah. So the game is on. The TNT game is Suns and Warriors, so it actually isn't. So that's actually interesting.
Yeah. Well, you can imagine that when they made the schedule, Suns and Warriors probably seemed like it was going to be a sweet game.
Yeah. Well, he did. So Luka did sit like a recent game. So one thing I had to note, like, maybe not bet it right away if you want to be on the Dallas side, like because he could sit again. It would be frustrating if he did. But yeah, Paul George, he's not in there. Kawhi's going to be a pretty interesting DFS option. I mean, with no Paul George, Kawhi's 8-7, and Kawhi definitely has a massive ceiling. And the other thing too is the Clippers are playing their guys minutes. That's the other thing to note, which I forgot about this angle. Do you see the rotations they played the last game spread with the Clippers?
No, I missed it. I mean, honestly, I've been turning the Clippers off in spite the last couple nights.
So actually, this might actually make me flip the other. I forgot. So the only thing is I don't trust that they're gonna like do it again. That's the one thing. But so the Clippers rotations the other night. Zubac played 37, Mann played 35, Kawhi 38, Batum 29, Marcus Morris 29, Norman Powell played 31. Their bench, John Wall 22, Reggie Jackson 8, and Moses Brown 10. I mean, they tightened up that rotation a lot. So maybe they're just trying to win now and they realize they have to. Like that's the one thing that makes Kawhi safe. I think, or I don't know if I should say safe, but it does seem like his minutes are back at least. So if the game's competitive, I think Kawhi's going to get his minutes. So I feel good about him. You could make the case that obviously Christian Wood's defense is not great, and because his defense isn't great, Zubac is always in the conversation at 5.2K because he's against a team that's going to also have another big man on the other side. That's one reason Zubac played a lot last game. Atlanta, they play big men, right? It just makes sense. They have to line up with each other a lot. So, yeah, overall, this is a game that you want to consider. You want to like Luka. You want to like Zubac. I don't love anyone else really on Dallas. Like Wood is too expensive. All these other guys, they got priced up a little bit. I can't really get that excited about these Clippers value plays. If you told me Norman Powell's going to play 30 minutes off the bench, yeah, sure, I'd think about it a little bit, but I just don't know if he's going to. So I'll admit I'm more on the side on this Dallas and Clippers game as I thought I was going to like it a little bit more, but I don't know. Let's see Tyler, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, I like Dallas here. I think Luka plays. Just looking at his game log, he missed one game after a close win over the Clippers earlier in the year. He was back the next game, played 35 minutes. He did the same thing in a Milwaukee game. They lost by 1, sat the next game, played that next game for 37 minutes. A couple games later, off of 20-point win, only playing 28 minutes, he sat, came back the next game, played 30. So I think he's there tonight. I'm going to bet them now before that number moves once he's rolled in. But once he is rolled in, I want his performance double. I want his double-double and win, and I want his triple-double and win. Because I think him and Kawhi are just going to go at each other all night, and I think he's going to post a huge number right here.
By the way, the Mavericks just moved to +1.5 just to call it out. The Mavs did. So they're +1.5 now. Not saying that's
what it's been for me the whole time.
Oh, has it? FanDuel just moved from +1 to +1.5.
Oh, okay. Yeah, half point. That's
it's nothing huge.
Not news. Yeah.
Okay,
great. So Tyler, you like the Mavericks here. My concern is the Mavericks have sucked on the road.
No, I'm not going to argue that, but how have the Clippers been regardless of location? They sucked.
I know. It's two teams I want to fade.
Luka
I feel like we have that
like
like
West
three
Coast
different
Gem just said in the
situations.
chat too. Luka hates the Clippers. He's got full rest coming into this game.
Because of the playoff series?
Dated back to that, and they've always talked shit on him. So he's going to come out and hang a number on this team. He's going to dominate this team tonight. Don't overthink it. Bet Dallas. Bet his props. Let him lead us to the promised land tonight.
I'm so torn on it, but.
All right, Tyler, we got to be quick, but we got to answer this question from our guy Flash. What do you think the best under is tonight?
Let me look at the totals.
Pretty even there. Everything's between 220 and 230.
I got the best under for you.
What is it?
228.5 in Portland and Orlando. Second night of a back-to-back for Orlando. Portland coming off that road trip. You said first game home is always a dud. You could make the case the defense is a little more rough, right, where it's easier buckets, but that'd be my guess. I don't know. Do you have a better one?
I'm thinking the OKC Miami game. They just put an
222?
emphasis on defense. They just trying to lock down the OKC guys. We know Miami's low scoring.
I mean, I'll admit I'm not like a huge over/under guy, so but that was my guess.
I don't like any of these totals on the board. I will say.
Yeah, Tyler and I will do the tags. I'll send you a message, Flash. But I think that Travis is off to a great thing. Let's start with the under on the Orlando Portland Trailblazers. So we're gonna do that. I see some other great things. King of Smack, you got to watch the whole show for the best games that we would target for DFS. So just go back and rewind it. But Oklahoma City Thunder, Miami Heat's definitely going to be up there.
Miami's the best part. Suns could open up, but you don't know, and that's obviously a tough guessing game with because you'll miss out on good Miami values. So, and then studs, it seems like you can go any way tonight you want. But yeah, that's kind of the quick breakdown.
Yeah, there's a quick breakdown, of course. Travis gave in-depth breakdowns the whole show, and there'll be more content coming up here on the Run Pure Sports YouTube channel. The Hardwood Live Show goes live at 4:45 Eastern, and after that, it's 6 p.m. Eastern, up to lock with Big T and JSU for members of RunPureSports.com. If you're not a member, head on over and start winning. Give us a thumbs up. We're here every day, Monday through Friday. They even said we're looking a little tired here. We got up to make sure we got you this content, guys. Just give us that thumbs up. Travis, time for the best bet.
Yeah, let Tyler go first. I'm stuck between two, but I want to see what he goes with first.
Mine's going to be a prop. Give me Mitchell over 3.5 threes. I just think he's chucking tonight.
I like
it. And then once Luke rolled in, if he is, which I think he will be, I want his double-double and triple-double and win. My guess is the double-double's listed right around +170. The triple-double is going to come in right around 5-1.
All right. I'm going through the tags right now. Travis, do you have one yet, or do you want me to find mine?
I'll go with Toronto -8. I didn't know if Tyler was going to take that one.
I figured that was yours. That's why I didn't want to take it.
No, I didn't want to do that. I mean, I thought if you wanted, I was going to give you it. That's why.
Right when you said that, I was like, he's definitely has Raptors -8 as one of those.
I think it's a tough day for betting for sure. There's nothing that.
It's like I'm looking at the projections right now. Nothing's really jumping out. I got a lot that are really close to the numbers. Clyde's going to love that.
If you wanted like a parlay that I think would be pretty good, I've done decent on these. I think last week's one didn't hit because I think I gave out the Nuggets was in it, and I think they lost. But if I parlayed anything tonight, it would probably be Raptors money line, and we're not going to go crazy, right? We'll grab. Let's see. I'd probably grab Raptors money line with Utah, and grab +117, right? That's close to you're getting plus money. Grab Cleveland and the Raptors. I thought about saying Dallas. You could do that one too if you wanted instead. I wouldn't hate that, but I'm a little more uncertain about that game. I feel better about the Cleveland. So Cleveland and Raptors money line is not a bad one. You can get a +120.
All right. I know we talked about the Magic under. Looking over the projections real quick, I think my biggest edge here is going to be the under in the Hornets and the Raptors. If the Raptors are fully healthy, I know that's going to help their offense, but it should also help that defense as well. We know guys like Fred VanVleet are very good at the point of attack. And then, of course, you got Project 6ix9ine, 3 big forwards for the Hornets to contend with. If you guys are right and it's a blowout, blowouts usually go under. Give me the under on the Hornets and the Raptors. So, Travis, we made it. We got you out of here on time, but we still need some words of wisdom for you before we sign off.
I got to go to this meeting. I was told last one to join gives 10 push-ups. So we didn't do enough Russell Westbrook slander. So Russell Westbrook sucks. Lakers fans, sorry about that. And I don't want to do push-ups. So let's get
he's
on
out of here.
There you got it. Run pure.